brother! Quick warning, there will be spoilers for Avengers Endgame. If you have not seen the movie yet, you have been warned. Gamora, the deadliest and also deadest woman in the galaxy? Well, except for the whole second dimension time travel thing, but whatever. Much of her personal history is unknown, other than that, as a little girl, her planet was invaded by Thanos, where she alone caught his attention and was adopted by him and trained to become one of the fiercest fighters in the galaxy. But as I have been rewatching Infinity War since Endgame has come out, something stood out to me as peculiar about the scene where Thanos adopts Gamora. First, we see Gamora with her mother, and then later we see her again yelling for her. In both situations, it is just the one parent. Now, who knows, it's possible her father is just out there fighting the invading forces, but it did get me wondering, who are Gamora's parents, and specifically, who is her father? Like, could he be an important character somewhere else in the MCU? And honestly, I didn't really expect to find anything, but oh my goodness, we did some digging, and the answer is, yeah, he's kind of a huge deal, and he's been staring us in the face the whole time. Today, we discuss how Thanos is not just Gamora's adopted father, but also her biological father. Guys, we are super excited to announce that Carlin Brothers Coffee has heard your voice. Listen to your feedback, and after months of testing and development, we are proud to finally reveal hot chocolate. It's double chocolate for extra richness, it's great for Dementor attacks, and of course the packaging is covered in Easter eggs, if you think you can find them all. But you can start hunting for them all and enjoying that chocolatey goodness today by heading over to CarlinBrothersCoffee.com. But back to Gamora. Now, strangely, in proving that Thanos is actually her biological father, we actually need to start with Natasha. I'm sure you've heard that despite her death in Endgame, there is still a brand new Black Widow movie coming out next year. And as she is currently dead, it is presumed that this is going to be a prequel movie that might give us some answers into her trippy Age of Ultron vision. In fact, the Russo brothers have even admitted that they deliberately put Easter eggs for the Black Widow movie into Endgame, and undeniably, the biggest one happens when her and Clint arrive on Vormir and are greeted by Red Skull. Red Skull has an interesting way of greeting people by naming you and then also specifically who your father was, which is something of a mixed bag for Natasha, because when Red Skull says, "Natasha, daughter of Ivan," she reveals that she never knew who her father was or that that was even his name, which is extremely relevant to today's topic because it means that even if you don't know who your father is or what their name was, Red Skull somehow still does. Whoever this Ivan guy is, Natasha has no idea who he is at all. We don't know a lot about her past, but if she did have some sort of father figure, that's not who Red Skull says. He reveals this fact, and it's interesting to her, but as far as she's concerned, it's just trivia. But that brings us back to Gamora and Thanos, who, as I'm sure you remember, also get a greeting from Red Skull. Would you like to hear it?
Thanos, son of Elos. Gamora, daughter of Thanos, Gamora, daughter of Thanos, Gamora, daughter of Thanos.
Now, when this happens, it's not exactly news to us, the audience. In fact, even just earlier in the movie, Drax already said,
Gamora is the daughter of Thanos.
And we're all like, yeah, she's one of the daughters of Thanos, the same way that like Nebula or Ebony Maw is one of the children of Thanos.
Even in death, you have become children of Thanos.
Whew, man, this guy's got like trillions of children at this point. But only one true daughter as far as I'm concerned, which brings us back to Red Skull and Vormir, where even after he says daughter of Thanos, he even follows it up with,
It is my curse to know all who journey here.
So it's not just like a guessing game for him. He is literally cursed with the knowledge of information about the people who go there. Which, if you ask me, is kind of an odd thing to call a curse. Like, how many people have even visited you on Vormir, Red Skull? Is this like coming up all the time? Ugh, another person to know the father of, bother. Whatever, not the point. The point is, he called Thanos her father and not the name of the actual biological father, which to me means Thanos is the actual biological father. What? Of course, the first time we heard this, we had no idea what we were hearing. It was my assumption that he was just acknowledging Thanos as her father because he was her adopted father and arguably more of a father to her than anyone else might have been. But now that we've seen how literal Red Skull can be, whether or not you actually had a relationship with your father, then I think we need to reconsider, because if he's saying Thanos is her actual father, then all of a sudden a lot of other things suddenly click into place. Like, why of all the little girls on all the planets he visited and wiped out half the population of, did Gamora stand out to him? Banner makes it sound like Thanos is just always out doing this.
He's a plague, Tony. He invades planets, he takes what he wants, he wipes out half the population.
And I'm sure that he is. But what if he is on Gamora's planet for a very different reason? Because seriously, it's not like she stands out a lot from the other people on the planet. Like, in my mind, I remembered her like yelling at him or throwing a rock at him or something, but upon rewatching, nope. None of that. He just leans down and asks her name and gives her a knife to play with. Totally safe. No, wrong. Totally not safe. Do not give kids knives to play with, no matter how great a lesson you can teach them about balance. There are better ways, Thanos. Like, have you ever heard of a bike? You think they had bikes on Titan? Do you think Thanos doesn't know how to ride a bike? I think he doesn't. That makes me pretty happy, actually. You heard it here first, folks. Thanos can't ride a bike. But seriously, let's consider the situation. This is a planet-wide battlefield we're talking about here, and he's taking a minute out of this global operation to adopt a little girl out of nowhere? Yeah. Pretty unlikely if you ask me, unless he happens to be her actual father. I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm still gonna carry out my whole 50-50 mission here, kill two birds with one stone, but he finds her, takes her, and immediately gives her a gift. That's like a strange dad move 101. Now, yes, I do hear you all screaming at the screen right now. What about that scene in Guardians 1 where Nebula says she hated Gamora the least of all of their siblings? Maybe Thanos is constantly adopting small children from across the galaxy and raising them into assassins. Yes, true, you do have a point there, and yet, one Guardians, one Infinity War, and one Endgame later, they are nowhere to be seen, and honestly, I just sort of assumed they were all dead, and either way, Gamora's his favorite, so... In fact, let's talk about that, because there is no denying Gamora is his favorite. Why could that be? Has she just been around the longest? Is it because she's just the most effective? Or could it be because she's his actual daughter? Okay, so despite being raised by him, and despite Thanos actually showing some concern for his other generals,
I take it the Maw's dead. This day extracts a heavy toll.
when Red Skull first reveals to Thanos and Gamora that he's going to have to sacrifice someone he loves to get the Soul Stone, she laughs in his face. She truly believes he is incapable of this emotion, which says a lot. I mean, it means she has never once in her entire life seen him express this in any way. And yet, of all people, it's her he loves, and we know this is true because after he makes the sacrifice, he does indeed get the stone. But think about that. The person who literally knows him the best doesn't think he's capable of love, and she is pretty much 100% accurate except for the lone exception of herself. She is special not because she's a standout fighter. I mean, he has plenty of those people at his disposal. I don't think that would cause him to love her more. I think it's because he knows she's his true daughter. Like, just listen to this line through that lens.
You're strong. Me. You're generous. Me.
Like, sure, he follows it up with,
But I never taught you to lie. That's why you're so bad at it.
maybe he's just describing things he taught her, but maybe he's also describing things she literally inherited from him. Regardless though, let's talk about her being a standout fighter, aka the deadliest woman in the galaxy. All right. Now while I agree Gamora is awesome and I'd much rather have her on my side in a fight, and this scene does exist, I I still have a hard time with deadliest woman in the galaxy. I mean, she doesn't even have powers. And I don't know a ton about her pre-Guardians of the Galaxy accomplishments, but not for nothing, at the beginning of that movie, she can't even successfully capture Quill. Plus, have you ever heard of, I don't know, Scarlet Witch or Valkyrie or Hela or... Granted, Scarlet Witch doesn't have a lot of galactic pull yet. And the other two have been imprisoned or in self-imposed isolation for quite some time, but there is at least one other character who's been out there acting as an Avenger for like 50 planets at once. Perhaps you've heard of her. She's called Captain Marvel, blonde hair, cat, fists that go sparkle, sparkle, boom, boom. Ironically, also my nickname in high school, in case you were wondering. Coincidence? I think so. Yeah, it can't be related. Hashtag sparkle, sparkle, boom, boom. And yet it is Gamora who is considered the deadliest. How is she getting this title? True, she does have some cybernetic enhancements, but I think she might also be touting some Titan blood, giving her a little bit extra resilience and strength. I mean, Thanos himself doesn't even have any actual superpowers other than naturally occurring insane super strength, but I think you could probably successfully argue that regardless of that, he is the most deadly person in the galaxy. And perhaps this would also explain why Nebula is also so terribly equipped to fight Gamora. We learned from Nebula in Guardians 2 that after every time she lost a fight to Gamora, her father would replace a part of her to make her stronger, and we see the full extent of that in Infinity War. And yet, she never, ever wins, stronger and stronger and stronger, and she can't defeat Gamora even once? Really? I mean, she is locked and loaded with more upgrades and parts than feels imaginable. And it's not like Nebula is unskilled. I mean, she's still pretty fierce. But do you know who else is good at standing up to people who have a ton of technological enhancements? Thanos. Yes, true, he does have the Infinity Gauntlet in that scene, but he does just as well in Endgame without it. Just like his daughter, Gamora. I mean, it seriously just clicks everything into place. It's why she's his favorite. It's why he picked her off the planet. It's why she's so much better at fighting, and it's why, of all of his children, he actually loves her. And of course, you might be asking, well, if she is his real daughter, why doesn't he just tell her? Why keep it a secret? I wonder how that conversation would go. You mean to tell me you impregnated my mom, left her alone, found out I was born, returned to the planet, killed her, and half the rest of the people on my planet, kidnapped me, and then lied to me about it for 20 years?
Yeah, no, you were adopted.
Looked like a real fighter. Grit. Yeah, easier to believe he just rescued her from himself and then turned her into a really great fighter. But whatever his reasoning was, there's still this.
Gamora, daughter of Thanos.
Ben, my question for you and everyone else is, what do you think? Is Thanos truly Gamora's biological father? Let us know your thoughts in the towel section down below. And don't forget, if you want to start enjoying that double chocolatey goodness from Carlin Brothers Coffee, you can head over to carlinbrotherscoffee.com and order yours today. Guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. Please remember to leave a like on it if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Marvel action from us. If you want to see whether or not Tony killed Gamora with his snap, you can check out this video right here. And if you want to find out why Thanos' plan was so stupid and the snap would never work at all, you can check out this video right here. But Ben, that's all I've got for you today, man. I will see you in another life, brother.